This video is really going to be just a teardown and a look. A teardown and a look at the differentials, pinion, spur, just what's involved with this car, because what I did notice was that the front and rear diff are wide open, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if I could kind of like maybe put a little bit of fluid in there, see what's going on, see what's inside the front, rear, and see what's going on in that center diff. Whether if it's got a slipper, or whether if it's locked, or if it's just like a pinion, whether if it's all plastic, any metal. It's just something I was thinking about. So anyways, if you want to see this video, this is what this is about, is breaking into this Wltoys little Z-Lot Fierce. All right. Seems like it's right. All right, so this is the this is that vehicle that I got from Banggood. They sent this out to me, asked me, well, basically they asked me if I wanted to review it, and I'm like, yeah, why not? Why would I pass up somebody sending me something for nothing? So, and I'm also not restricted in any way with my opinion of this car. So I want to break into the rear differential, the front differential, and see what's going on as far as this motor is concerned. This obviously is a brushed motor. I kind of wish that there was a brushless version. There might be. I haven't done the research, and I'm actually not going to do the research. But anyways, let's get into cracking open the differentials and see what's inside. So I'm going to start off with the front, because I feel like the front may be easier to crack into. Yeah. So it looks like... Actually looks like this thing could have a sway bar. So this thing actually could have a sway bar on it. It doesn't, but it looks like it could. So, but anyways, I have no idea how to crack into this, other than it looks like I've got to take the center brace off. It looks like this is a top cap that pops off. So I'll be taking the shock tower off. And I don't believe I'm going to have to mess with anything on the bottom here from what I'm seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I'm going to see what it takes to take this thing apart. They do give you a tool. Honest with you, I'd throw that away. Just use like real stuff. There is a combination of Phillips screws on here. I think the majority of things are probably Phillips. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see, there's all kinds of dirt still on here. I'm going to flop away the shocks first, just because I want to see what's going on here. And there's a Phillips on the back here. So, this is going to be a long, drawn-out video taking this apart. Like I said, I've never taken one of these apart, but it's obviously going to be very easy. What I'd say is keep things together. Just that way you don't get confused. Or just watch this video like 500 times. So I'm going to bring in a something that put this car on. So just use a drag wheel. Phillips screw on the back side. Get your little driver or whatever you got. These are nylocks on the front. Should pop off. Slide that out. Like I said, I'm just going to keep these things together. This is not going to be edited, by the way. So, and yes, there are ads on my channel. There is nothing I'll be doing about that, other than having more ads. So, on the back side, can't tell what that is. So I think I'll leave potentially that one alone. That may come up as one unit. There are a couple of screws here. So this is just removing this shock tower here. Front shock tower. This is aluminum, by the way, which it's not bent. With all the abuse that this thing went through. Alright, and then 2 more screws down here. The other thing I would do too, get yourself a magnet so you can pull these things off and not lose them. Alright, so that frees that up. So that frees that up to basically just swing it, I think, out of the way. Yeah. So it's kind of out of the way, like that. I think what I'll do is I'll see if, yeah, all right. So it does have a metric, ball end. So I can swing this one completely out of the way just by doing this. Pull this out, and you can swing that out of the way. And then, like I was saying, just keep things together. So we got that together. Now, I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but then on the back side here, there's these 2 screws, which are for this center brace. So, I'm going to pop these out. See? Magnet. Magnet always helps. These are definitely shorter screws. Looks like I'll have to take out these screws as well. And I'm thinking, hoping. Okay, so those I believe are Loctited by the way it felt. And these have a like a captured flange built into them. It's always a good idea to, if you're not experienced with taking things apart, take pictures, or better yet, take a video. So, does this pull up now? So, yep. Okay, so that does pull up and out of the way. And it looks like I may have to take off this little Ackerman arm as well. So I'm going to go after one side first, just to see what happens. And this is using that same exact type of screw, except it's just a little bit longer. So let's see. Can I pull that out of the way? So I can swing that back. I'm going to undo these 6 screws. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this back side, which captures probably a bearing, right there, there's 4, 5. Yeah, 4, 5, 5, 6. God, I forget how to count. All right. That one's out. That one's out. And these screws seemingly are the same. So the same screws that attach on the shock tower are the same screws it looks like so far that attach this top plate to the differential. Could use the right driver guy. And then 2 screws back here, which you can kind of slide that little center brace. You know what? I'm going to take that, I'm going to take this center brace out here. So there's a zip tie right here. I'm going to snip that. I'm going to get that zip tie out of there. There's a couple of screws on this back side here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, which look like that's what holds this back cover on. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and just get this center brace out of the way. All right, so these are Loctited in place. So you're going to need a very good screwdriver to go ahead and bite into that. These back ones, these are just into plastic. And those are shorter ones. So this is into metal. So these are thread locked. That could be an issue. But that's why I've got this. This is a little mini butane torch. So I'm going to be easy with this thing. Hopefully not light anything on fire. Let's see if that was enough. And yep, it was just enough to break that loose. I don't see why on this vehicle, why realistically you'd have to have use Loctite. It's only a little car that's not going very fast, so I don't really see a benefit to using Loctite. I mean, maybe it's not Loctited, maybe it's just really tight. So I'm going to try and... Now see, that's a loose bite. All right, see how it's rocking? I'm going to see if I can get a better screwdriver onto there. Lighting up that, firing up that plastic isn't probably the best thing to do. So I'm going to get a driver with a little bit better of a bite, which I'm hoping it's going to be this bit right here. And that's a nice bite. And there we go. All right, so in that one, didn't need heat. Could have been disastrous. All right. So pop off the center brace, which should get us a look at the plastic pinion there. I mean, plastic spur. So that's out of the way. Now we can rework on this front here, keeping all those screws together. I think I'll stick with this driver. So these are, again, those longer screws. Now, I believe this plate should lift. Yep. Wow, we've got metal gears. And there actually is fluid in there. The fluid's actually not contacting the gears at all. So when they put the fluid on, the fluid didn't do anything as far as touching the gears. This differential is gotta be 100% wide open. But yeah. So it does have an all-metal ring and pinion gear inside. It does have bearings. It doesn't look like any contaminants got inside, which is a positive. But I will be using my fluid that I have on these gears because as you can see, like I said, the fluid that they put on there didn't really like get on the gears at all, and it didn't sling off. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off, move the car out of the way. Going to put down a paper towel or a paper plate. Get a little work surface here going. All right. I'm just going to wipe off the grease that they put on there, which, again, didn't really do anything. And the differential is held in by Phillips. So I'll go ahead and crack this little bad boy open. I am surprised to see all bearings, no bushings. That is pretty slick. Get the coffee shakes. Must mean I need more coffee. Alright, so let's get a look at this. There's lubrication in there, but it's the same lubrication that they used. Yeah, it's the same lubrication that they used for the ring and pinion. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some lube in there. I'm going to do something a little bit different, though. Because this is such a small, lightweight vehicle, I'm going to use a different type of fluid. So I've got these fluids. I've got 30K, 10K, 50K. And these, I believe, are Traxxas. And this one's bleeding all over the place, and I don't know why. Alright. So I'm going to go for the 10K. I'm not even going to clean out what they've got inside. I'm literally just going to squeeze in this fluid in here, top it off like that, and that should make this happier. So you can see the fluid settling down. So actually looks pretty good. There's no seal or anything on there that I can see. It's just basically plastic up against the metal. It does have like an indexing kind of thing. So there's little pins on the ring gear that look like they line up with the yeah, they do. They line up with the pins that hold the gears in place. These tiny little screws. Ah! Too much coffee shake here, guy. Ah, that's much happier. It might even be a little bit too light, But I'm going to put a thicker fluid in the rear because that's just how I like it to be. And again, small, lightweight vehicle, maybe a slightly higher diff fluid would help, but there was really no diff fluid kind of like really in there. But that's kind of cool that, you know, I'm able to at least take this thing apart and do that. I think that's what's expected nowadays. All right, so that's all set. I'll move this back in. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to plop this into place right now, right? And I'm going to put this is the type of fluid that I use. This is Permatex silicone or ceramic extreme brake parts lubricant. This is the stuff that I've been using, like I've said, with every ring and pinion style gear setup. And it does, for me, it does phenomenally. That's how much I'm going to put in there. Looks like it's a lot, but it's not. Going to go ahead and close this case back up. Put the screws back in place here. Gotta be careful with these fasteners. Everything is a light plastic. Gosh, coffee shakes are terrible. I think I am addicted to coffee, but I'm okay with that. I'll survive. Okay, so I got all of those screws. Now I can re-put on the steering here, because that kind of what did I lose here? This little bushing I think went in from the bottom, so there is like a little bushing that goes on that Ackerman. So I'm going to do, this is cool, man, it's all bearinged, which is pretty crazy. So that's good for there. So this little arm can now be reinstalled. Put in the dog bones. Place that dog bone into place there. And looks to the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and put in this little bushing. It's got that little bushing right there. I believe that's possibly how it went. There we go. Looks about right. So it had the shorter screw. for here. Good. Now, take the shock tower, and I think I can put the shock tower back into place right now. I don't think there's anything stopping me. Yeah, nothing's stopping me from putting that back in. So, unscrew there. Screw there. And through here. I can't remember if those were the short screws. I don't think they were. I think they were these long ones. I think. I might be replacing those screws. Alright, so this is fine. So then, literally, make sure that this dog bone goes back into place here. Can go ahead and set up, get my shocks back into place here. That. Get that dog bone into place. It might be better to get my upper links in place first, though. So let's do that. Let's get my upper links into place first. So it was on the lower hull. Oh my goodness. That's going to require backup of a little wrench on the back side here. Nice and tight, not too tight. And makes more sense if I remove this, because it's actually in the way. So I'm going to take that little arm, I'm going to swing it out of the way, making sure I don't lose that bushing. That way I think I can get this. It needs an L wrench. So you will have to get yourself some proper tools. So, and an L wrench doesn't even get in there. Does it? Alright, it does. So get yourself some L wrenches. There we go. Now I can slide that back over. put in this screw. Remembering that this is a Phillips on this back side here. That does feel, it's not locked up, but it definitely feels better. It has more of a fluid feel. So that definitely feels pretty good. Might have to do the same thing for that rear. All right, flip this little thing around here. Get a look at the back. And looks like the wing is kind of in the way. There's two screws right here. So there's a screw there and a screw there. Phillips. That'll take care of that top part of the wing. And then there's two screws in the back side will take care of the back part of the wing. So I'm just going to get the wing out of the way. There's also 4 screws on there, which I could do that too, but this is just how I'm going to choose to do it. It's either or, right? You either take the wing completely off or you take that piece off. I'm choosing to take this piece off. There we go. Now, and just set these over by the wing. That way I know where those came from. Alright, so now I wanted to get a look at this. Oh, there we go. Should have just showed that. Kind of stuck for space here. So this little top cover comes off, and it is, wow, look at that pinion. The thing is massive. Oh my God. It looks like there is a certain kind of, some kind of adjustment, but it is fixed and it is set screwed. So it is a set screwed massive pinion in there. Wow. Okay, well, there really is no gearing up. I should just literally put 3S into this thing and see what happens. But that's a massive pinion. That looks like, I think that's 32 pitch, too. seems like 32 pitch. Redcat Racing does an odd pitch that you'll strip your gears if you don't use the right pitch. Or at least some of their older vehicles are that way. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to remove the shocks. Just get them out of the way. Like I said, surprisingly, these shocks are kind of mint. Especially for the size vehicle this is. Now, there's no way you're gonna, like, lose this, but still, like I said, just kind of put things together. You could put it on the shock. This time I'm opting not to. So I'm going to put a heavier diff fluid in this back. Alright, I'm going to take out one side, that way I can flop it. And I'm going to choose this side, and I'm going to use an Allen wrench to go into that back side here, into that little link. I think it's a 2, right? Yeah, it's a 2. So the size is a 2. Pop off this one side here. Put that together. I got a metal shard in my fingers from something. Alright, 2 screws left that holding on this little plate. There were 4. The 2 lower for the spoiler, for the rear wing. And these are the long screws. Should keep that in mind. It also does have a provision in the back here for a sway bar. That's crazy. Magnet's your friend. Now this should lift up and away. Again, same as the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 screws. Pop this rear differential out. And I believe these are all the long screws. So 1, 2, and let's see, are these shorties? Guess I'll find out if these were the short ones. No, these were long as well. I think I had said that, I just forgot. Alright. Oh, yeah, by the way, the center diff is... it's not a clutch or anything, it is locked. Alright, so there we go. So same thing. There is a thing of grease on there, but it's not doing anything. And these are dog bones on the rear. And they're nice and straight. Pop this out. You see what I mean? So the grease isn't enough to sling onto the gears. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You probably, for longevity, you probably should take this thing apart. So I'm going to clean the stuff that they put on there just off. You don't have to, but move this out of the way. Drag the paper plate back into place here. And we will take apart this diff. That's just dirt. Alright. So let's see. Now in the front I went with 10. I think I'll go with the 30 for the rear. This is the way I like it. It's not like if there's any ballooning or anything like that happening. It's just, I want a little bit more of a locked rear running this thing. So let's see what kind of fluid we got in here. And about the same amount. So this one, I'm going to just clean some of the fluid that they got in there out, just like that. Nothing crazy. And I'm going to take the 30K weight and squeeze that in here, which is going to be a thicker fluid. For such a light vehicle, this would just help lock up that rear a little bit. And because it's a thicker fluid, you do have to let it settle. Or at least you should. Just want to let it kind of get down and in there. I'm going to give this a little turn. I'm going to squeeze just a touch, oops, of the 30. Squeeze just a touch more in there, just a little bit. Good enough. Cap this back over. It locks into place, so there's no issue. The only issue is my coffee jitters here. Come on, guy. And what's cool about this, right? So if you get this vehicle for a younger individual, or even just for yourself, if you get it for a younger individual, they can actually work on this thing, which I think it's pretty cool. Gets their hands dirty, gets them involved in working on something. Maybe auto mechanics isn't, you know, the direction that you want your kids to go in or whatever, but this kind of somewhat can springboard kids into at least an interest. That's much better. It's not locked. It's just definitely giving it fluid. Sit that in place. Grab my special lube stuff here. Give it a nice little scrape onto there. Put the cap back on. There we go. Just being able to do this one thing should help change the way the car grips. It'll change its traction. Use the other hand to help guide my coffee shakes into play. Oh my goodness. Oh. All right. Mesh. There is a little click to it. So, I mean, there is a little mesh. You can't adjust the mesh, but that is pretty sweet, man. I'm just going to check the gears real quick to see if any contaminants got in there. Doesn't look it. That seems mint. Take the shock tower. Put that little dog bone in there. Flip that into place like that. Now the two screws in the bottom are the only ones that go in at this point in time because the other ones were for the wing. So now this side, put in the little bone there. Get that out of the way. Went into the lower position. Get the L wrench on there. Here we go. Ah! Guess what? And put the dog bone in place. Whoops. It's not gonna drive very well without the dog bone. This will also get your kids, so you can get your kids some tools. Or get yourself some tools. Alright, there we go. Get the shocks in place. I'm just going to clean off these caps. This one seemed like it might have been maybe bleeding. Oh, maybe not. Wing back on. wing front screws on. Put this little gear cover back into place. Goes that way. Now we've got, how many screws we got left over here? We've got 2 for that, 1 for that, small, long, okay. So this is the spur side cover. Go ahead and put that in place. Maybe wipe it off a little bit. So remember, these were thread locked, but I'm not going to thread lock them back in, because I feel that is just going to cause an issue. And those are machine screws. The plastic itself, when you clamp this down or torque this down, I think the plastic itself is enough to provide the tension on the screw that you need. Short screws on this back side here. Got a long screw, which I think might have been for the servo saver. That's how I'm going to do it anyway. And then the short machine screw for the front, which may have been the wrong one, but it's still going to work. Or not. There we go. Or not. Keep saying there we go, but it's not in there. There we go. And then 2 more short screws into the differential for the center brace. And that is it. Thing's ready to rip. So I don't really necessarily, think of that as, why is this lens junk? I don't necessarily think of that as tuning. I mean, it is, kind of. You're changing the fluids in the differentials, you're adding grease, so kind of in a way it is a type of tuning, I guess you would say, because you are changing the differentials to get a different reaction or action. So anyways, this was working on the Banggood Special. It's the 124090. It's this vehicle right here. They call it Explorer Off-Road Racing, Conquer the World. The name of it is this right here. It is the Z-Lot Fierce. And so far, believe it or not, so far, I'm having fun with this thing. And that's kind of the point. Now, me diving into this, tuning the differentials, just changing the fluid out, just to get a different reaction, that was important to me. Just because the way the differentials were initially, they were wide open. I could also tell by the exceptional amount of free spinning that there may not have been ring and pinion grease. And you could actually see that while there was grease, it wasn't installed on the gears. It doesn't make any sense to install it on the housing when it's supposed to be lubricating the gears. Now this stuff that I use right here, this is just a recommendation from RC Guy Garage. This is the stuff that I use. And like I've said it before, any ring and pinion that I come across gets that stuff. And yes, do I put a good amount of lubrication in those gears? Yeah, but that's the way I do it. So, and I'm going to do the things the way I want to do it. You do things the way you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is just a recommendation. So, anyways, I am going to be out. We just tore apart this Banggood special. If you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, so far I'm having a blast. And what I'm seeing, I'm actually saying go ahead and buy it. It's pretty cool. I am a Banggood affiliate. The link will be in the description. If you want to go ahead and grab yourself one of these, they're only like $120 or something like that. And all you've got to supply is obviously a charging brick to charge the batteries, this thing. You do need to either like plug it into your computer or plug it into a charging brick that you currently already have that accepts a just regular USB connection. They give you 2 batteries, which are 2200 milliamp batteries, which is pretty crazy because the best part about that was, I think I want to say I got a solid, probably 18-ish minutes of kind of full trigger. So at some point, I think I may want to just toss a 3S into this. Just a little one, just because I want to see. I'm not recommending you do it. That's just what I'm going to end up probably doing. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this episode from RC Guy Garage. This was just working on the Banggood special that Banggood reached out to me and said, hey, you want to try it? And I said, hey, why not? We'll see you guys in the next one.